Hey scholars, this video is to help you with your Thursday, May 21st assignment. We're going to be shifting gears away from Ibn Battuta and Mansa Musa. It's very important to know that. And we're going to start talking about the group of people known as the Mongolians. All right? Very important to know that we're shifting gears because when we come back to Memorial Weekend, we're going to still be talking about these Mongolians. It's important to know they are not in the same group as Mansa Musa or Ibn Battuta. They are not Muslim people. Okay? So let's view the assignment. So scholars, we previously learned about the Golden Age of China and how Emperor Qin had the Great Wall built to keep out a group of people he was afraid of. These people were known as the Mongolians, and they became stronger over the years. Eventually, a man named Genghis Khan took over, and he organized the kingdom to work together. After this, an empire was formed, and within 25 years, it grew larger than the Roman Empire, which took 400 years to grow to its height. Over the next week, we will be taking a deeper look at the Mongolians, and specifically Genghis Khan, to see exactly what made them so successful, and whether they, and specifically Genghis Khan, whether he would be considered a villain or a hero in history. Okay, so again, same thing as before. You're going to be opening the document where it says My Work, read the preview of the assignment. Be sure to open the document in a new window. Then you're going to read about Genghis Khan and the Mongol Empire and answer the 4 questions I've provided you in the comments. Make sure you're pressing reply and the blue button in order to save your response. And then at the end, make sure you end with a strong written response to, would you consider the Mongolian government to be golden? Why or why not? Please use a full claim, reason, evidence, and reasoning for that last question. So again, it's over here where it says My Work. You click here. You have to click on these 3 dots and open it in a new window. Otherwise, you can't complete the assignment. And let's get right into it. Scholars, you remember Emperor Qin from China's Golden Age, right? You may recall that he was very paranoid, so much that he built a wall to keep a specific group of people out of China. The people Emperor Qin was afraid of were known as the Mongolians from Mongolia, led by the Khans, which was an infamous family in history. Infamous means that you're famous for a bad reason. So the Khans were the people who kind of ran the Mongolians and set up the empire to go on its path. You're going to learn more about that in the next week. There were many instances where Emperor Qin was overly paranoid because his fears had no real chance of happening. Like you guys remember, the Terracotta Army was built because he thought he was going to be attacked in the afterlife. That's not a legitimate fear. However, his fear of the Mongolian army was totally legitimate. You're going to learn about that today. Up until 1200 CE, Mongolia had small kingdoms around that operated individually. Then a man named Genghis Khan came to power in 1206, and he set out to unite all the small kingdoms to form a large empire. He very quickly built one of the largest empires in all of history. Within 80 years, the empire reached its peak, where it spanned almost the entire eastern hemisphere of the earth. Historians today marvel at how quickly the empire grew. So I want to take a moment and actually explain that. This was the Mongolian Empire when it reached its peak in 1279. So before it was an actual empire, Mongolia is kind of like this area right here. And what it was is there would be a few little dots of a kingdom. So there'd be a small kingdom here, a small kingdom here, a small kingdom here, a small kingdom here. What Genghis Khan did was when he took over, he brought everybody together and he made everybody work together as one power. So much of the success of the Mongolian Empire was due to Genghis Khan's early rule. Part of it because he brought everybody together. Though he died in 1227, Genghis Khan's strong but brutal leadership set the empire on the right path for expansion. Today, you're going to look at the basics of how Genghis Khan built such a strong empire, and next week, we're going to take a deeper look and argue whether he was a villain or not. So same thing, you guys can read up here. I gave an important little blurb for you to read, but I'm going to get right into the questions so we can get on with this. So we get down to the article you're reading. Question number 1. What is the author's purpose of including the paragraph below? So what is the author's purpose of including this entire paragraph here? Make sure you're answering in complete sentences. This is not a question, but it's important to know this fact here. It's the same thing I said in the preview of the assignment. In 25 years, Genghis Khan built a larger empire than the Romans built in 400 years. Very, very, very great thing that he did. Very impressive thing that he did. Question number 2. Based on the information included in this paragraph, battle tactics, how would you define a tactician? Question number 3. Why would these specific tactics work on cities with walls surrounding them? And question number 4, would you consider the Mongolian government to be golden? Why or why not? You need a claim, reason, evidence, and reasoning for that one. Again, I'm going to answer a question as a model that you can use as a reward for watching this video, and I'm going to focus on question number 3. So when Genghis Khan started taking over kingdoms, obviously he brought people together peacefully at first, and then when he started to take over some other places, he did it in a non-peaceful manner like most emperors do, and most leaders do. So Genghis Khan started taking over some cities, and he ran into some problems. Cities had really big walls. Like you remember the city of Constantinople. They specifically built walls to keep people out. Same with the Great Wall of China. So Genghis Khan didn't give up, and he came up with some strategies that he would use to keep or to get people out of those cities. One thing would be he would catapult stones or things into the city. So catapult is something that launches an object. And Genghis Khan was actually known for putting in like animals that had the plague and launching those animals into people, into like city walls. He also would like cut off the city from its supplies so that people on the inside would have to starve or eventually leave. Sometimes he would block off a river and actually flood the city so that people would have to leave. And then sometimes he would light extra campfires and actually place fake soldiers out in the horizon on the hillside so that his army seemed larger than it was. So those are all tactics that he used on cities that had walls. But the question is, why would these specific tactics work on cities with walls surrounding them? So I'm going to respond in complete sentences. Again, you can use this as a reward for watching the video. Let's say Genghis Khan's tactics worked on cities with walls because he would either force people to leave the city due to lack of supplies, or they would leave the city due to fear of being invaded. So why would these specific tactics work on cities with walls surrounding them? Genghis Khan's tactics worked on cities with walls because he would either force people to leave the city due to a lack of supplies, or they would leave the city due to the fear of being invaded. Did I answer the question completely? Actually, not yet. And you guys might want to get into this practice of reading your answer before submitting, because I explained what his tactics did, right? It forced people to leave the city, but I didn't explain why it would work. So I'm going to actually edit that. And I'm going to take it a step further and write, these tactics were successful because after people fled the city, the Mongolians could attack them or just take over the city without any resistance. Now I've answered the full question. Genghis Khan's tactics work on cities with walls because he would either force people to leave the city due to a lack of supplies, or they would leave the city due to the fear of being invaded. These tactics were successful because after people fled the city, the Mongolians could attack them or just take over the city without any resistance. Very detailed response, incomplete sentences. I answer all parts of the question. Make sure you guys are doing that as well. I cannot reiterate enough. Make sure you're rereading your answers. Be sure they answer the question before you go back here and you press the turn in button. Remember, guys, if you need help, join those Google Meets at 10:30 a.m. or reach out to Mr. Woods or I for extra help. Good luck, guys, and I hope you enjoy learning about Genghis Khan.